Alright, so now we're on turn 3, or round 3 should I say. As far as my starting hand goes, looks like I got a lot of my influence over here, so this first turn I may want to be recruiting. Now here in the Monastery training area, it looks like we have Firebolt. I was looking at that as I was revealing the cards, and I think I might actually want to purchase that. Since we got Dark Negotiations for our last level up, looks like it'll be a little bit easier to negate that -2 reputation. Unfortunately, the unit offer isn't looking particularly friendly. I haven't noticed any Monastery units to recruit. The only units I have on there is, more peasants, Utem guardsmen and Utem crossbowmen. And the other two can only be recruited in the village or a keep. And seeing as I'm not near any of those, I'm going to have to spend my influence on possibly training at the monastery. So now it's time to choose my day tactic. So maybe rethink, Mana Steel, the right moment, and early bird. Yeah, that's kind of a tough one, seeing as I mostly have what I believe I need right now. I think I'm going to go with Mana Steel. What this allows me to do is, if I pick this one up, I can take mana from the source and put it on this card. And essentially I'm holding on to that until I need to use it, and it doesn't count against my 1 mana die per source per turn rules. So if I use that, I'll essentially have a 2 mana, especially in multiplayer or competitive mode. This is a pretty good card because you shrink the source, and your opponents have less mana to deal with. So I'll be going with Mana Steel. And I believe I'll be taking this green die over here. And I'll probably be using it right away. I mainly just want to use it to be able to move towards that monastery. I'm going to go ahead and draw for the dummy player. Looks like our cards are slowly becoming limited as far as tactics. And the dummy player will go with, early bird. So seeing that that's number 1, and the card I have right here is number 3, the dummy player will be taking his turn first. Alright, so for this turn, what I want to accomplish is I believe I want to head towards that monastery. And I think I have enough movement to be able to move over there plus reveal. I mean, I would have to spend the swiftness I have in my hand, but just to kind of get an idea of where I would be going after I trained. And that way I won't be limiting myself and cornering myself in the side of the map. So I'm going to go ahead and use this Mana Steel to play March for move 4. And I'll move our character over here to the other monastery. I can already see the monks in there getting nervous as I approach. Probably worried I'm going to burn down another monastery. Here's decisions. I always hate having to use swiftness for movement, especially this early on, because that range 3 is really, can be very helpful, especially on this next turn, because although I'm not going to burn down the monastery right now, I'm going to be pretty tempted to burn it down here shortly. So I think I'm going to hold off on exploring, and what I will do is just train with that firebolt, or for that firebolt that's sitting there in the monastery. So I'm going to go ahead and take this white mana die and use Promise for influence 4, and use Threaten just for the influence 2, and that'll give me influence 6. Now I do have a -2 reputation penalty, but since we got the Dark Negotiations on that last level up, that gives me +2 influence to use per turn. So that'll negate that, and I won't have to spend a lot more influence than normal. And I'm going to go ahead and pick up Firebolt. Now gain me a red crystal to my inventory or range fire attack 3. Now range fire attack, or range attack in general, in these Conquest games, it gets a little, I mean, they're useful, but you know, towards the city assaults, most of the units will be fortified, so this may have diminishing returns. Luckily for us, Lost Legion introduced a lot of unfortified enemies, so range attack is a little bit more useful than it was in the base game. However, you know, you still have a large amount of enemies that will be fortified unless I have a way to reduce the fortifications. Alright, so that will be my turn. I will re-roll these die. I have 2 whites. Alright, dummy player takes his turn. Our source is now red, white, white. And we have a pretty strong looking hand for attacking. Now here comes the tricky part, because I have a siege attack 5 with that Horn of Wrath, and I have a firebolt. So pretty much I'm able to take out just about anything that I could draw from that monastery if I was to sack it. However, I am sitting at -2 on the reputation, and if I do burn the monastery down, that'll throw me down into the X range. And what that means is essentially I will no longer be able to influence or interact in any of these sites or areas. So I won't be able to train, I won't be able to recruit units in the traditional way. So although I will draw an artifact card, right now my reputation is too low to be able to safely sack the monastery and lose that important ability to be able to recruit, so I won't be doing that. Alright, so this next turn for me is a little tricky. I have a lot of attack cards, good ones at that, and I have this card Learning over here. I was looking over here in the advanced actions pile, and I noticed a couple cards I might want to purchase with influence. Mainly there was these 2 cards over here. You know, we have Ambush, which gives you more movement, plus it adds attack or block to your first type of card regardless of what type. So this can be really good synergized with our range and siege attacks. And then there's of course another Swift Bolt, which is another range attack 4 or a crystal. Being that I'm in the slight predicament of the movement, I was kind of looking towards Ambush to possibly purchase that one. So what I think I'm going to do this turn is I'm going to play Learning, and I'm going to play it for its strong effect, where it gives me Influence 4, and once during this turn I may pay Influence 9 to gain an advanced action card from the offer to my hand. I'm going to use the Peasant's ability for the Influence 2, so that'll give me 6. And my Dark Negotiations, I'll have 8. And as much as I hate to play one of these cards sideways, I'm going to play the Swiftness sideways for that additional 1. And that'll give me the Influence 9 I need. So I went ahead and I'm going to pick up Ambush and take that into my hand. Now I'm thinking about spending this to at least reveal the next map tile. Well, I think I'm going to hold off till my next turn just to see what I draw. I'd hate to waste this card if I can possibly use it for the stronger effect. So I'm going to go ahead and end my turn. Roll the blue. Right, dummy player is gone, so I need to go ahead and start exploring. I've been sitting on this monastery making the monks nervous as they can't tell what next move I'm about to do. So I want to go ahead and play Ambush. And since I don't have any green mana in the source, what I'm going to do is Crystallize. Fortunately for us, we drew a blue. So I'm able to turn that mana into a crystal of any color to my inventory. So I'm going to grab a green crystal, use it for a mana token to power up Ambush, and give it the move 4. So that way, if I reveal something and I still want movement, or I want to go somewhere, I'll at least have 2. Alright, now reveal. Well, looks like another monastery. Marauding Orcs, a blue crystal mine, and a glade. And the card that's not going to be in the Monastery offer is Spellforge. As much as I hate to waste that movement that I generated with Ambush, I'm going to have to go ahead and do that and attack that Marauding Orc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Dark Fire Magic, generate another red crystal and a red mana token. And I'm going to go ahead and use that red token to power up Firebolt. That's going to give me range fire attack 3. In this case, I can also add 2 to my first attack card of any type, so that would be technically a range fire attack 5. Seeing as this character, or this orc over here, he's physical resist, I have the fire attack, which will negate that anyway, so no matter what, he's going to die, and I will get 4 fame. And I'll take 1 to my reputation, so now I'm at reputation -1 rather than 2, and if I wanted to take out that monastery, it wouldn't throw me in the X range, but I would be taking a -5 penalty to my interaction, and I'm not sure I'm ready to do that. I still need to recruit a lot of units. Alright, so that'll be it for my turn. Go ahead and roll this die. I got a gold, alright. Alright, so seeing that the dummy player just went, he only has 2 cards left in his hand. Alright, so I'm in a pretty bad predicament right now. I remember earlier I was complaining about how much movement I have, and I was hoping not to be stuck with nothing but movement. In this case, I have no movement whatsoever, and a bunch of really decent cards in my hand, and I'm also sitting on top of the Monastery. I do not want to play these cards sideways for movement, so the only other option I have, and we'll see how this goes, I may end up getting a terrible score, but I'm going to have to take out that Monastery. That's the only other thing I can think of. Is either that, or I can waste this card right here and get, destroy it, get fame 2, and recruit a unit for free, which might not be a bad idea either. But for right now, I think what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take out that Monastery just so I can see what other artifact I can draw and at least push me over to level up. So I'm going to go ahead and take that reputation -3. 1, 2, 3. And there it looks like fire golems. Ooh. So these guys, it looks like they are fire resistant and physical resistant, which it looks like I ended up buying a bunch of fire cards, and I have regular physical cards, so they're pretty much resistant towards me. They got fire attack 3 and they're brutal. So I believe the way I'm going to play this is I'm going to use this Horn of Wrath, use the siege attack 5. And I'm also going to use battle versatility, and I'm going to use it for its range attack 3, and that should give me a total of attack 8, which should negate any physical resistance the enemy would have. And now I have to roll a mana die and see if I roll a black or red and take a wound. Of course, I rolled a red, so I will take a wound to my hand. Should take care of this enemy. That's 5 and 3. That'll be 8 during the range of siege attack phase, which should be more than enough to take, or just enough to take out this golem. I'll go ahead and put the marker on here to say I conquered the monastery. Move my fame up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is going to be it for my turn. I'm going to go ahead and roll the die for this one. And it's black. I'm going to go ahead and draw the 2 artifact cards. Hopefully it was worth it. Banner of Protection. So it's pretty much a boost to any one of the units that you have, and it gives them fire and ice resistance. Or Amulet of Darkness. Gain a mana token of any color. Played during the day. Well, this is essentially giving me a gold mana die type, or I can get any color, and I can reduce my desert movement, and I can use black mana as if it were night. I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Amulet of Darkness. Alright, and since I crossed the path, I have leveled up. So I'll just be flipping over this token over here as for the command token. And, alright, looks like our hand size has increased by 1. So instead of drawing 5, we'll draw up to 6 cards, which is good since we took that wound in the last phase, or the last turn. So the dummy player has run out of cards. His next turn he will be declaring end of round, so that leaves me with 2 more turns. Alright, it goes without saying that I'm going to be moving regardless of what my hand looks like. So I'm going to take this gold mana die, and I'm going to go for a refreshing walk. Yes, I believe this guy's picture is a reflection of how slow I've been playing this round. He's just taking his little stroll, taking his sweet time, but that move forward and heal 2, just I'll be able to get rid of that wound. So I'm going to move 2, and I'm going to reveal my first brown core tile. It is the Green City. And on there we have 2 rampaging enemies. That's 1, 2, and it's the Green City. Now for the solo conquest, the first city, the basic at least, is you set the token or the dial to 5, and then the second city will be 8. However, if you want to change that and make it a little bit harder for yourself, you are more than welcome to. But for this run through, I'm just going to be doing the basic. Looks like we'll be placing 2 browns and 1 white. And over on this card, it looks like everyone who has physical attack adds poison to their attack. And for my special benefit for conquering this city, for 6 influence, I can either, looks like I can either get an advanced action or get a random one. So either one that's shown in the offer, or I can draw and take a mystery action. Alright, so it looks like I'm going to try to dump my hand before I run out of time, because I still have quite a bit of my deck to go through. So I've used my refreshing walk already, and I'm right next to one of those orcs. So I'm going to play my Amulet of Darkness, gain a mana token of any color, and I'm going to go ahead and gain a white token. And I'm going to play its powerful effect for reduce 1 enemy attack by 4 or 2 attacks of 1 or 2 enemies by 2. So I'm going to go ahead and reduce this orc's attack. He's got, looks like 2 attacks. I'll reduce both of those to 0. And I have attack 2, so I will be playing these lovely cards sideways for attack 1, and that'll give me the attack 4 I need to take out this this orc over here. So that'll give me +1 on my reputation and 2 on my fame track. And I will roll the die, and it is another gold. Alright, and the dummy player has declared end of round, and this is my last hand that I have to play. It looks like I got the movement, I got another swiftness, improv. Heck, I think I probably still have another 2 more movement cards left in my deck too. My very last turn, it looks like I can at least get next to the city over here and see what we're going to deal with for the next turn. So what I'll do is I'll at least play this Tranquility to heal off this 1 wound card. That's 1 less wound I have to worry about. And then I will use Stamina. I think there's going to be a change of plans. I initially thought I wanted to use my Tranquility to heal off that wound. I think I'm going to take that back. Instead, I'm going to draw 2 cards. So now I'm locked into that, and I drew Concentration. And another movement, March. Alright. Initially I thought I wanted to get myself next to the city in the start of the next round. But I think a stronger move would be to position myself on that monastery in case we get any decent units that I can recruit in a monastery, and that way I can start off the turn by recruiting a good unit. So I'm going to go ahead and play one of these cards just for the move 2. It really doesn't matter at this point. That's all the movement I want to do. So I am now on the monastery, and the only other action it looks like I can take will be to purchase that advanced action. So instead of costing me 6, it's going to cost me 7, since I have the -3 rotation plus the +2 for my Dark Negotiation. And it looks like with my inefficient use of my cards, now that I'm committed to having used a mana die from the mana source, I'm going to have to use my concentration to get a red mana token. No sense in wasting my crystals, since I'm just going to be able to do 1 influence action over here. And I'm going to play Improvisation, discard another card to get, I'm going to use it for influence 5. And now we're playing this card, 6, 7. And that'll be all the cards in my hand. And I will use that to purchase Spellforge. So if I play this card, I gain 1 crystal to my inventory of the same color as one of the spell cards in the spell offer, or gain 2 crystals. And so pretty much depending on what the spells are, determines what kind of crystals I get. So I'll go ahead and get that one. And it looks like that's going to be the end of round 3.